What's up guys and welcome back to the channel. Recently it seems like every day there is a new piece of news about what's going on behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm. As you know, most likely Samuel L. Jackson has been contacted by Disney concerning his possible survival as the character of Mace Windu. This has been a widely debated topic for years amongst Star Wars fans, the question of whether or not Windu survived his encounter with Sidious and Anakin towards the end of Revenge of the Sith has plagued everyone's minds, with many just assuming that Mace Windu stayed dead. For others, however, it was difficult to accept that Mace Windu, who was essentially the Vice Grand Master of the Jedi Order for lack of a better term, would be put down so easily. Many Jedi Knights have survived long falls and intense Force lightning before, so it's quite easy to understand how a Jedi Master, no less, could have survived this as well, especially someone with Windu's resolve. Nevertheless, today's video isn't about a canonical debate on whether or not he hasn't or has survived. Today's video, we will be asking the question, if Mace Windu did survive, would he have turned to the dark side? As this would be a key contributing factor to where the story of Mace Windu would go if he does eventually return, which appears to be more of an eventuality than anything else. At the moment, all we can do is use speculation based on past precedent and a little bit of opinion, since currently most of what is being said is just talk with Samuel L. Jackson and the studio. It is, however, a reasonable assumption that Lucasfilm will bring Mace Windu back, if not purely on the basis of how willing Jackson is to return as the role, but whether or not they can tell an intriguing story, which I think we all know that there is an intriguing story to tell with Mace Windu's return. At this point in time though, we can only guess what direction they would take his character in, but it's now time to see what we would think would be a reasonable course of action for Mace Windu based on what we know of him in canon. It is my personal belief that Mace Windu wouldn't turn to the dark side, and here is why. Mace Windu spent most of his life being surrounded by the dark side, but rooted so firmly in the Jedi way that he was not only able to overcome his darkness, but actually harness it so that it worked for him in his favor, in service purely for the light. By creating Vaapad, the variant of the 7th form of lightsaber combat, Mace Windu proved that he had fully mastered his inner darkness. Not only this, but time and time again, he would have demonstrations on what the dark side of the Force does to a person, starting with his very own best friend and co-creator of Vaapad, the Jedi Master, Sora Bulk. As a quick recap, Sora Bulk was a Weequay Jedi Master from the Bulk family of Rule, renowned among the Jedi for his skill in lightsaber combat. He was therefore recruited by his colleague Windu to assist in the refinement of Vaapad. However, Vaapad required the user to dance along the edge of the dark side of the Force but not fall to it, as Bulk fell captive to his inner darkness. Bulk pursued his studies of the dark side in secret until Count Dooku captured him during the earliest days of the Clone Wars and turned him fully to the dark side. Beyond Bulk, Windu witnessed the fall of Count Dooku, Quinlan Vos, and of course Anakin Skywalker. It is very easy to see why Windu treated Skywalker with such mistrust during the service together as a Jedi. By this point in his career, Windu was keen on spotting the early signs of the dark side within Jedi, as he had watched 3 very experienced and powerful Jedi Masters fall so easily to temptation. I personally do not find it logical in this case to believe that the destruction of the Jedi Order would cause Windu to turn to the dark side. If anything, it would have been the direct opposite, but possibly equally as destructive in the end. In the council meeting in Revenge of the Sith, Windu even admitted to the rest of the High Council that he sensed a plot to destroy the Jedi Order. With Order 66 and the fall of the Republic, these things would only serve to prove Windu correct and root himself firmly in his beliefs. But here again could lie an interesting problem. In the novelization for Revenge of the Sith, it is stated that Mace Windu loves the Jedi Order, but more than anything he loves the Republic. Unlike Obi-Wan and Yoda, who deem themselves as protectors of the Republic, Mace Windu solely roots his whole identity in the Republic and its protection and its future. By the destruction of not only the Jedi Order that Windu serves, but also the Republic that he identifies himself within, Mace Windu's entire identity would in a sense be rewritten, causing him to suffer most greatly among all of the Jedi that managed to survive Order 66. And while I do not believe that Mace Windu would personally fall to the dark side, I believe that he would revert to using a more radicalized version of the light. Basically, a light side that allowed more space for action and less space for error. unlike Obi-Wan or Yoda, where they realized the mistakes of the Jedi and how all of the dogma and arrogance of the Jedi was ultimately their destruction. Windu wouldn't learn this lesson and insist on becoming even more dogmatic, even more structured than before. What used to be not letting attachment or emotion cloud your judgment would for Windu create spiteful apathy and borderline heartlessness. If the dark side focused on passion and rage, this radicalized light side wouldn't rage or compassion. It would simply be nothing. Windu would take on a strictly logical view of the Force, and much like Kyle Katarn, would pick and choose which abilities of the Force he deemed to be dark or light side based in nature, in which they would ultimately be used and repurposed by the old Jedi Master. This Mace Windu wouldn't be a dark Jedi, gray Jedi, or even a Jedi at all. He would be much like Ahsoka, a being within the Force that carried no title, but just as they believed the Force willed them to do. Though unlike Ahsoka, Windu wouldn't act out of love or compassion for his friends or the innocence of the galaxy, but a spiteful sense of duty to finish what he started by hunting down Vader and Darth Sidious. A being of the Force driven by one new sense of purpose: destroy the Empire at all costs. Mace Windu would not perceive this action as revenge. He would perceive this new action and this new purpose as fate. Because there really isn't any canon or Legends material thus far that suggests that Mace Windu survived, we don't exactly have an idea of what he would become during this era. We do know that he doesn't join the rebellion, but we don't know if he ever had a run-in with Vader at any point in time. If they did, it would most definitely be on Windu's terms. Unlike usual, where Vader would hunt down a Jedi straggler and kill them, it would most likely be more akin to Vader getting lured somewhere by Windu and then ambushed by him. Anyway, to summarize, I believe that Windu has far too much knowledge of his own darkness and of the Jedi way to allow himself to fully bend to the wills of the dark side. However, I do not think that his intentions of the light side would be very pure at all, to say the least. But what do you think? Do you believe that they will bring Mace Windu back? And if they do you think it would be out of character to him to have turned to the dark side? Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. As always, this is just my interpretation of the character. As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching the channel. May the Force be with you, and I will hopefully see you in the next one.